Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Deontay Wilder, he must have a fight coming up because he's thick and fast are the headline-grabbing comments from Deontay Wilder. As we know, he is fighting on May 18th, a month away. But he said of Dominic Breazeale, should he hurt him to the extent that he kills Breazeale in the ring on May 18th, that he would feel no remorse. So I'll get to the comments here and then a few thoughts, because this is something for some that will be quite jarring. And it's not for the first time Deontay Wilder has said a number of controversial comments ahead of fights or just in general, but this one here is a bit more sensitive because obviously in boxing it's not generally typical that boxers will actually overtly say they have no problem killing their opponent. Sure, they'll say they want to beat them, that they have some bad intent, but killing them, there is a bit of a line for some fans that they don't like to see crossed, and this for some will be that line and moving over it. But we'll get to his comments and then a few thoughts. So he was asked of the Breazeale fight, should Breazeale pass away from injuries related to the fight? Not one bit of remorse, because this is boxing. This is what we do. This is what we sign up for. People on the outside will never understand the sport. They will never understand what we have to go through, break our own body down. We are fighting for our lives in the ring anyway. Anything can happen. Your head is not meant to be hit in the first place. One little tap can end it all. You talk about me killing the guy. If it happens, it happens. When you are dealing with a situation like this and it's personal, I don't mean well for him, nor do he mean well for me. So I speak the truth. That's why people love me till this day, because I speak facts. I speak truth. I'm a realist and I speak how it is. I'm going to handle my business in the ring accordingly. I promise you that. I'm not taking it easy on Breazeale. I'm taking him as if he were a champion. That's how serious I'm taking this. He's going to be a guinea pig in this experiment. I don't like him at all. What he's done is unacceptable, and I can't wait for this fight. I mean business. Trust me. Deontay Wilder's statements to the Daily Mail. Now, when you actually have some of that in context, taking it away from the headline of Wilder possibly killing Breazeale, not one bit of remorse, that sort of overarching headline, which is a bit jarring. Some of what he is saying there, it makes complete sense that, you know, he's out there to do a job, to try hurt the other guy, to win the fight, and, you know, you're taking your life into your hands every time you get in the ring. The head isn't meant to be hit, all that sort of stuff. So I can understand what he is saying there because, you know, that is the reality of the sport. It's called the sweet science, but it's also a very brutal endeavor for those who venture into the ring. We've seen over the years many people hurt to the extent they're either hospitalized with, you know, career-ending injuries, that they are sort of scarred for life, or in fact they have lost their life. That is something that is a real and present danger in the boxing ring. And obviously sometimes the consequence of having a boxing career, especially at the top level, taking many blows to the head, is down the line you can actually have effects really impacting you later in life. It's not often immediately, although sometimes, you know, people, as the saying goes, can be seen to be punch drunk, you know, slurring their words, and that's a visible sign, but sometimes it can take years to actually come to the surface. And obviously there's been plenty of examples of that over the years. But these comments, for some, I'm sure is going to be quite confronting, because Deontay Wilder says these sorts of things. I mean, he says people love him because he speaks the truth, but that's also a reason why people despise him at times as well, because some of the things he says and the way that he says it can come across a certain way. And he says he wouldn't feel one bit of remorse. And when I examine that statement, does that really gel with some of the other statements that Deontay Wilder has just said in recent memory? So he, ahead of his fight with Tyson Fury, was trying to play up a softer side of his own personality, talking about, you know, how he loves children and all this sort of stuff, and that he would like to experience being pregnant and all that sort of stuff. It was a different side of him. He actually proactively threw that up to a reporter. It wasn't prompted, but he dropped that in there, that he would want to be pregnant, and went on and waxed lyrical about how much time and affection that he has for children, that they're his life, and all these sorts of statements. And he knows that Dominic Breazeale is a family man, that he has children, yet he's saying things like this, that he wouldn't feel one bit of remorse. but that would be taking Dominic Breazeale away from his children. So I am skeptical whether Deontay Wilder really means some of this in the way that it is being sort of positioned here, because he has shown his softer side, and he does have these different personalities that he puts on display at different times depending on the audience and what he's talking about. Sometimes he can be the preacher, sometimes he can be the humble guy, and other times he can play the villain. And I think some of this is the villain here. There's a bit of that coming out, and what's the motivation for that? Well, he's got a fight coming up. He needs to drum up interest. Obviously, Showtime wants to do good numbers for this fight, and the quickest way to do some better numbers than potentially otherwise you could do is to generate interest, get more eyeballs on the fight. And this is a fight that not many people were necessarily wanting to see, but it's the one they've got. So headline grabbing statements like this one from Deontay Wilder, which have gone global already. I mean, even in my, I'm from New Zealand, some of the local websites here, they've already picked the story up. So it's one of these things, because it is so jarring and controversial. Actually saying, yeah, if I kill my opponent, I don't care, I wouldn't feel any bit of remorse. That is going to get some people up in arms and a bit riled. And maybe it's some of the wrong attention to an extent, because obviously exposes the more brutal side of the sport. And some people are going to say of Deontay Wilder on these statements that he's a bit callous here, and how would he feel, or how would his family feel, if Breazeale said the same but also followed through? And Deontay Wilder with his I think he's got 7 kids, I think he said. I don't think he would like to be in the same position, but some of this might just become another back and forth. It's another storyline generated. Breazeale, he may respond and, yada, 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 and obviously it builds into the fight. So some of it to me seems like a cheap tactic for some headlines to generate some interest. But is it crossing a line? I don't have so much of a problem with it. I kind of think it's a bit on the nose, but some people will be outraged by these comments, and the fact it's already been picked up far and wide shows that the general media, it's not just boxing media, knows that these are controversial statements and that their readers are not going to like this, or potentially not like this, or will want to wade in on these statements. And yeah, what do you make of it all? How do you feel about these statements from Deontay Wilder? If he does, in fact, put Dominic Breazeale in the dirt, he says he would feel no remorse. Do you really believe him? Is this just statements bigging it up as part of the promotion for this upcoming fight? Or do you think he is actually feels this way and he is being a bit callous? Or is it one of these things where the added context of what he was saying, that people won't understand the sport, that they're fighting for their lives anyway, that sort of mitigates that earlier statement? Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.